In this video, I am going to introduce you to two methods of Waterstart, which are safer and quicker than those they normally teach you in a kite school, and which will form very important skills that will allow you to ride upwind right after you will get onto the board. Hi guys! Waterstart looks so easy with an experienced rider. However, it causes problems for a beginner. The reason is that during our lives, we always get up from sitting position by sending our shoulders forward. Due to this habit, our body is trying to replay this pattern, which is absolutely non-effective when it comes to kiteboarding, because the essential skill that makes you a good kiter is your ability to resist the pull of the kite. I am going to explain you how to control kite power and make it work for you and not against you from your first water starts. So, what makes a water start so hard for a beginner? Your kite needs to create a lot of pull to take your body out of the water, but as soon as you get onto the board, that power you created before gets excessive and starts making problems to you, trying to throw you over the board. The classical way of teaching offers you to point the board downwind. It is done to spend that excessive power after you get out of the water. And this is actually a big problem, because from this position it is really hard to lean back onto the lines and start riding upwind. I'm offering you another way of fighting against the excessive power of the kite by using the board to resist it and to convert it into riding upwind. Before trying a water start, you must be able to control the kite with one hand, to put your board onto your feet and be able to keep the board between you and the kite regardless of kite position in the sky. I also recommend to work on proper stance at the beach to program your muscle memory before going out on the water. Let's start from this beach exercise of controlling kite power with your weight, because it is crucial for that way of water start we are going to use. Make sure the wind is enough for the kite to hold you hanging and you are not dropping too fast. While leaning onto the lines, try to achieve at least 45-degree angle and pelvis tilted up. This is the body position that you should take after getting out from the water when trying a water start. Don't try to conquer the kite. Just find a balance between your weight and pull of the kite, a proper angle of hanging on the lines. Also, watch the weight balance. Try to load your feet equally. This is something you will also have to repeat on the water. Water start procedure starts from putting the board onto your feet. It is very important to make the kite staying around 12 o'clock so that you will not be rotated or dragged by the kite to the side. If you're using right hand to put the board on, I would recommend to steer the kite a bit to the right before bringing the board onto your feet, because your left hand will stay on the bar and will likely steer the kite a bit to the left. As a result, it will end up around 12 by the moment when the board is on your feet. Anyway, hold the bar as close as possible to its center to avoid unwanted steering. While floating with the board on your feet, you must be able to perform so-called steady pull maneuver. What actually happens here is that the kite is rotating your body when you steer it from side to side, and your goal is to make the board always stay between you and the kite regardless of kite position in the wind window. I would recommend to keep your knees maximum bent and to pay attention to how your side body muscles work. They should be bending your body like if you would try to push the board to proper position. Paddling a bit with one hand also helps a lot if you feel that you're about to lose the balance. Remember this feeling of following the kite. We're going to get back to this topic a bit later in the video. When you're confident with putting the board on and mastered steady pull exercise, let's move further with water start attempts. First thing to discuss here is the kite position before the start. Most common way to start is to dive the kite from 12 o'clock. They would advise you to start from 1 o'clock for left side water start, only if the wind is not enough. I recommend you to always put the kite to 1 o'clock or 11 o'clock if you start to the right, and here is why. While you are sitting in the water with the kite at 12, your board is already set to proper direction, which is 90 degrees to the wind. But as you dive the kite to the side to stand up, the board will follow it and will set itself too sharp against the wind due to steady pull maneuver you will perform to keep the board in front of you. With more experience, this course will become suitable for you, but for the first water start attempts, it could be a problem. If you swing the kite from 1 o'clock, the board will be pointing downwind in the beginning, but as the kite will pass 12, it will turn to perfect angle to start 90 degrees to the wind. If you dive the kite down from 12 o'clock, the kite accelerates and creates enough pull for you to stand up when it is close to 45 degrees. When you start moving the kite from 1 o'clock, the pull is created right after the moment when kite passes 12. In this case, you will get more vertical lift than horizontal pull. As a result, you will have more support, which will help you to stand, and less horizontal speed, which can distract you as you start riding on the board. With the same amplitude of the swing, the kite will stay closer to zenith, create more support, and will minimize probability of dropping the kite into the water. In case if the wind is not enough, you can try a wider swing to create more pull. Okay, so you have set the kite to 1 o'clock, keeping the board between you and the kite. Now send the kite to the direction you wanna go. Avoid making that swing too wide, since you have to learn to control smaller amounts of pull during first tries. As your kite will pass 12 and will be still pulling you up vertically, it will be the moment for you to stand up. At this very moment, as you feel your body getting out of the water, immediately bring your pelvis up and lean back onto the lines. Don't try to ride now. Your goal is to find yourself in a suitable position, hanging on your lines at about 45 degrees. Try to match that feeling of leaning angle to that you had while doing a beach exercise. Hold your board in front of you, between you and your kite, in case if there is any excess amount of power, you will slide downwind. If it happens, keep your body tensed to avoid falling over the board. Even if you skid and fall onto your back, you will be ready to try a new start immediately, unlike flying behind the kite scenario, when you will spend a lot of time collecting your board and getting ready for a new start. After several stand-ups, try to increase the amplitude of the kite swing and you will ride automatically. Don't bring your kite too low, ride slowly. And if you will keep the same stance you had in the beginning, you will ride at least half wind without losing wind height, giving you an opportunity to make more tries. At this point, I strongly recommend you the video called The Way of Advanced Kiter I've created recently to explain every single aspect of proper stance, edging and adjusting your course. It will save you many months of mastering the skills of going upwind, changing speed and making transition turns. Check out the link in the description to watch it. Possible mistakes you will probably make are: dropped pelvis. If your pelvis is not tilted up, it will be difficult for you to resist the pull of the kite. Pay attention to keep the pelvis up right from the moment you're lifted off from the water. Overloading back foot is also something you should avoid. It will bring the nose of the board up, which will start to slow you down a lot, and you will probably end up with your kite choked too much. If the wind is not enough, avoid pulling the bar all the way in, since it will choke the kite and it will not provide you with any power. Instead, try to decrease your body leaning angle. Stay a bit more vertical. Also try increasing the amplitude of a kite swing. So this method of Waterstart is just an improved version of a basic well-known one. I strongly recommend you to try it to learn to harness kite power by hanging on the lines, which will dramatically improve your future progress. But I also would like to introduce you to another way to learn Waterstart, which some of you might find even easier. This is a bit unusual way to do a Waterstart, which is also safe and easy to learn. Probably you will find it more comfortable, especially in very choppy conditions. It is a start with an upward swing of the kite. It is the most advanced and safe method I know at the moment. You start by putting the kite to 45 degrees on the side you are planning to go. Send the kite to 12 and as soon as you feel the lift, bring yourself into the same position we were talking about before, with your pelvis tucked up and your body hanging on the lines. You will rise from the water exactly by the moment when the kite reaches 12 or passes it a bit. You will be standing like that with zero speed, ready to start a ride. Again, proper weight balance between your front and back foot is absolutely crucial to start moving and to avoid choking the kite at this point. The only thing left now is to swing the kite back in the direction you wanna go. If you are hanging on the lines properly, your kite will give you enough time to do that while keeping you standing stationary on the water. As the kite will start a descent, you will start riding slowly and in control. The only thing you should take care of is keep leaning back onto the lines to preserve lines tension. If you do everything right, I promise you will have a smooth ride without losing wind height. While using this method, there is a probability that your board will point too much downwind or that you will overload your back foot, so you should pay a lot of attention to proper weight balance between your feet. Methods described in this video are meant to keep constant tension of your lines. That is why they will not cause any lack of power that students who use downwind water start would face pretty often. So normally you will not need any additional swings of the kite. I do not recommend trying water starts if the wind is not enough. However, should you decide to try and are not able to ride after the first swing, you can try to keep moving the kite up and down several times, keeping lines tension and trying not to point the board too much upwind so you don't choke the kite too much. While doing several swings to gain speed, keep leaning back onto the lines. Constant lines tension will help the kite to get back to zenith and to avoid back stalling. Don't forget to let the bar out a bit while the kite flies back up. Try to experiment with leaning back angle, since in light wind 45 degrees angle would be probably excessive. Nevertheless, keep your pelvis tilted up and your shoulders on the upwind side of the board. From this point, if you are able to keep the same proper stance you created when you got up from the water, you will be able to go upwind and probably do transition automatically, since proper transition has the same key points you're already familiar with, like hanging on the lines and keeping proper weight balance between your feet. For more instructions on how to go upwind, you can also check out my YouTube video about that. Let me know in the comments if you found these ways of water start useful, and subscribe for more ideas on basic and advanced kiteboarding skills.